Gaivula. Welcome again to Phage and Ellen. This is Phage Week here on Christmas Island, and it's our 30th year for doing this. Although, as you can see, this year things are a little bit different. Although this year we had limited funding, we decided we would still go ahead and present our concert series and our Phage Week. So we're really into the heat of it here in more ways than one in Christmas Island. And tonight is the Maud na Fíle, the Pìobairean, Malishka. So tonight is the Piper's Céilidh, and we have, for your listening pleasure, of course, Mr. Kenneth Mackenzie, Andrea Boyd, and Mr. Keith MacDonald. And they will tell you everything else that you need to know. So sit back, have a nice cup of tea, and enjoy the Piper's Céilidh.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Now I started talking, so I have to keep talking, I think. We're excited to play some tunes for you, supporting the Phage here in Christmas Island, which has done tremendous work over the years, keeping classes going and places for people to learn fiddle, pipes, and Gaelic language most of all. So really great that they're doing concerts and keeping the music going this year.
I'm going to introduce Andrea here. So we have Andrea Boyd all the way from Antigonish on the mainland. It's a treat to have her here. She's not often around or home, especially this time of year. She's highly successful on the pipe band scene and the competitive scene. So it's great to have her home in Antigonish County and here in Christmas Island for the Piper's Céilidh as well. And it'll be a treat to hear her.
Kenneth, Cognac. Hukka gukk mi an Val-de-Vore, Antigonish, ha mi furach an Toronto anish, agus ha mi an Eriseg Val-de-Vore anish, be mi a cloik an the Phoebe a march or two. Should I just go for it?
Go for it. All right, my name's Kenneth Mackenzie, and I'm going to play a little set now. I might play a set, a slow 6/8 march, and a couple jigs. I'm going to play. The first jig was written by my brother Angus Mackenzie, and it was written for our father Ronald Mackenzie, and it's called Ronald Mackenzie of Milton and Mabou. He comes from the Isle of South Uist, Milton originally, and he's lived in Mabou since the late 70s. So I'll play that one, and then I'll play another jig that's very common in South Uist, where he's from, the Skylark's Ascension. But I'm going to start with a tune that was written by an old pipe teacher of mine, and other than Angus, my older brother, I'd say John McLean was my biggest influence. So he wrote this first one, and he just sent it to me back in the fall there. So he wrote this one called Dalapere to Lochboysdale in the Rain. He wrote it when he was in South Uist as well. So these are all kind of South Uist tunes, or with a South Uist connection. So here we go. So we'll pass it over to Keith McDonald now. Keith from Footcape originally and in Johnstown now. Keith's just back from Iqaluit. Well, back a little while ago now, and it's good to have him home as well.
Thanks, Kenneth. Oh, thanks. Wow. Yeah, there's enough people in this room to have an applause, and it's a strange thing these days, but we really hope you're appreciating and enjoying the efforts of Pìobairean Airline with these concerts and these these festivities that are continuing. It's not easy, so big thanks to all of the staff and people who are pulling it off, making it happen. And it's a big thing. And hearing music, people home, during COVID-19, they're finding the appreciation again for music, and these concerts are keeping people going. So, speaking of which, I guess over the course of my year, I had a wonderful gift sent to me. I was in Iqaluit this year, and during there's closures and physical distancing mandated in the territory, and I got a package in the mail. It was actually from a guy from Big Pond named Carl McIntyre, and had a little note on it that it's a piping book. It has it's a collection of pipe music. It's one of the Logan's tutor books, and full of great tunes too. Like, you might find some of these books that are okay, and some are really good, and a tune or two, and this one is it's really enjoyable, and I just wanted to send a thank you out to Carl McIntyre for sending that book along. So and it was a nice gift. So I'm picking through the book and going through some tunes, and some of the tunes I'll play in this next selection are from that book. I think I'll start with the Braes of Mar. And a Strathspey that's nice to play for dance tempo, or kind of as a slow intro to a set. So we'll see where we end up. Since these guys are playing, we had marches and jigs. I'll try a set of Strathspeys and reels. Okay. you're right. They were some cracking
some cracking tunes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yes.
Anything to say, Kenneth?
No. Back to Andrea.
Well, thanks, Kenneth. Well, it's great to be here, and thanks to the Feish for inviting me to join you this evening and cross the causeway and have some tunes and with folks like Kenneth and Anna, who was dancing earlier. We had a lot of late night tunes during our St. X days, and along with Megan, who's one of the organizers here. So it's nice to be playing tunes together again. As Kenneth was saying, I have focused most of my piping on competitive piping, solo piping, and pipe bands. And the silver lining of COVID is getting to be home from Toronto for the summer and spend some time in Airasag, Nova Scotia, which is about 20 minutes outside of Antigonish. And I this week was reminded that it's been 25 years since the Antigonish Highland Society band won the Grade 4 North American Championship. So that was kind of the big, that was a momentous occasion. And I know the Gaelic College had the same year had their big win. Was it 94 or 95? Had their big win at the Worlds in grade 3. With your brother was in the band, Kenneth, and Angus, and was Sheena in the band as well? No. Angus was in the band. So that was a great time for pipe bands in Nova Scotia, and that catapulted me into going across to Scotland and to playing with the Boghill and Bathgate Caledonia Pipe Band, and going across to Ireland and playing with the St. Lawrence O'Toole Pipe Band. But one of the great things I got to do when I was in Scotland was spend time in South Uist, and in Uist going up to Games Week up there, to the Young Piper of the Year competition, and also going to Keolis and to teaching youth piping at Keolis, which is, if you haven't been to Keolis, I encourage everyone to book their plane ticket for next year and get across. Have you been to Keolis before, Keith?
No, I haven't been.
It's pretty magic. It's a magic time.
I would love to someday in the future, and I encourage anybody to go and take it in and see it.
Yeah. So maybe I'll play some tunes kind of connected to the islands. I'll play hornpipe, Crossing the Minch, which I think the fiddlers would know as McNabb's hornpipe, and then I'll go into a couple jigs, and a great, I think, Bembecula tune is The Cat and the Dog. Do you know that jig? It's a 9/8 jig. It's kind of fun. So, go for that.
stuff, Andrea. I'm going to carry on with a set of tunes, maybe some fiddle tunes, because I play the fiddle too. So a lot of my tunes I get from my fiddle repertoire. And it was an old thing here in Cape Breton, as many would know, but often pipers were fiddlers or fiddlers were pipers. But the two styles really influenced each other. And you still see that today in even the beaten repertoire in Mabu, like all the Kinnan beaten and Donlangus and that kind of Mabu sound these days. That's a very pipey sound because they were all pipers. And there's families all over the island that were very similar. But anyways, these are some tunes from the fiddle repertoire, some of them. The first one's a march by Mike McDougall. Mike's a great player, was a great player that you don't get recordings off too often, but those that are around, we tend to treasure. And then I'll play some Strathspeys and reels after that. The first Strathspey was one I learned from a fantastic Scottish piper, Shawnee McIntyre, another US connection. And then some reels after that. Over to you, Keith.
Just want to say an extra thank you to Alex Marks on sound and Davey and Sky with Davey and Sky Media, who have been filming for us here at Pìobairean Airline, doing a fantastic job. So you know who's behind all the great work. Okay, so yeah. So I'm just going to play a couple of tunes to finish things off for me today. And a tune that I'm going to start with is called The Henningham Reunion, which was written by Bruce Gandy, who's infamous in the piping world and is, a really fantastic piper in this area in Nova Scotia, but is one of the top world competitors of solo competition and a great composer as well. So Henningham Reunion, and a setting that I picked off Ryan McDonald, who's another wonderful piper here in the Cape Breton area, and a couple of tunes that I've learned from John McLean are going to make it in there, as well as a fiddle tune by the late Dougie MacDonald. It's called All Fired Up Jig, and was named for my brothers and I, who play in a group called All Fired Up. So somewhere along the line, I think the third tune in will be All Fired Up Jig, and then into some reels. Thanks.
Tapalí bhula sin gobá taliste go raibh cána ring nach Edlaina sin dachas gan de chóir san leiche raibh. Thanks everyone for coming to the Piper's Céilidh at Christmas Island. It's always a treat, online or not. So we're going to finish up together with a tune all together, and we're going to get our good friend Anna MacDonald from Bedeck up for a step as well.
Well, tapale vula. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Anna, for doing the step dancing, and to the Pipers. And, of course, thank you all for coming this evening and listening in to the Piper's Céilidh here in Christmas Island. And as we celebrate our 30th Phage Week, we hope some of you will join us tomorrow evening for our virtual milling frolic. So that should be entertaining and interesting. So, tapale vula, Ikavalov, Spianaklev.